Welcome to Etihad Focus, your number one spot for the latest match updates, transfer news, and inside training coverage. If you love football, you're in the right place. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any breaking updates. Let's get started. Passionate Pep Guardiola comes out fighting over Manchester City concerns. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola spoke about an interesting week for his team where lots of goals have been scored. Pep Guardiola admitted concern over the goals. Manchester City are conceding, but does not want to lose what his team are. In a feisty press conference, the City boss attempted to switch the focus from their second half collapses to the good position they are getting into in the first place. Having been brief in his press conference on Monday, Guardiola gave lengthy answers to many in a session that nearly ran for half an hour across the two parts. Included in his answers were passionate defences of what his team are good at as they sit in second place in the Premier League. When it was put to him about the 6 goals they have conceded in the last 2 matches, he responded, and the 3 goals against Leeds, and 5 goals against Fulham as well. You can see 2 versions. We have always done many good things. How many shots on target for Leeds? 3. Scored 2. Fulham? 5 or 6. The average of shots we concede is high. We have to improve. All the goals were from the edge, and we didn't have players there to defend that position. And we will talk today and maybe tomorrow morning, but it's different players and different qualities. The rhythm and physicality of Sunderland is impressive, but offensively and defensively they have many concepts. I don't like to concede 2 goals and 4 goals, but at the same time we are the team that scores the most, and we have to build from that. We have to fix things we can do better, but not lose what we are. Of course, when you concede 4 goals in games, it will be so difficult. You have to be more solid, but it belongs to everyone, not just goalkeeper and defenders. I saw the game, and I have the feeling I know what we have to do. The players will know it today. Guardiola gave full credit to what Sunderland have achieved so far to defy expectations and sit in the top 6 of the Premier League. And he once again praised Fulham for their efforts under Marco Silva. However tough it has been to risk dropping points against Leeds and Fulham, City's manager is delighted to come away with 6 points. Of course I'm concerned. With the good things. I try to understand what happened to concede the goals to be not as good as we were in the first half. It's not much, he said. The opponent always counts. I have high consideration for Marco and Fulham since they were promoted. They came here when they were in the Championship in a cup and played really good, and that year they were promoted to the Premier League. I know scoring 5 goals there is not easy. The chances that we created, even more. But at the same time, of course, we see what happened to lose the good result and momentum. It's part of the growth, the mistakes and the process. We have to accept it, and tomorrow is another one. I'm an incredibly optimistic person and want to see the good things we have done. Against Leeds, Enzo Maresca, with the job he has done in Chelsea, he has not had the credit for what he has done, and look what happened. It's really difficult. If you are able to win games, after you can lose. It only happens in this country, that's why I give incredible credit to when we won 5-4 at Fulham. There were moments where I said, oh my God, but after that, I take the positive things. Why Rayan Ait-Nouri is not starting for Manchester City as Pep Guardiola sets record straight. Rayan Ait-Nouri signed from Wolves in the summer, but has been unable to play regularly for Manchester City as a specialist. Left-back Pep Guardiola backed Rayan Ait-Nouri to be a long-term success at Manchester City, despite the defender struggling to get on the pitch. The Algerian signed in summer from Wolves, and despite happiness from supporters that the club had finally captured a left-back, he has failed to make an impression as he gets ready to go to the African Cup of Nations. Ait-Nouri started the first 2 Premier League games, but got injured in the home defeat to Spurs and has struggled ever since, with his only start in November coming in the home Champions League defeat to Leverkusen. He didn't even make it out for the second half in that game, replaced by Nico O'Reilly at half-time, as Guardiola sought a response to a disappointing start. O'Reilly has nailed down the left-back spot since his first start of the season there in the Manchester derby in September, and continues to perform consistently. However, Guardiola raised the prospect of moving the homegrown star into midfield to give Nico Gonzalez a rest, which would allow Ait-Nouri a way back into the team. While Ait-Nouri does not have long to make a mark, he will leave for international duty after the Crystal Palace game next weekend. Guardiola pointed out that the 24-year-old has ages to settle in at City. The City boss has no complaints about how Ait-Nouri has started, but has not felt able to leave O'Reilly out of the team. Rayan played in the Club World Cup and was really good, said the City boss. He played the first game against Wolves, he played the second against Spurs, and after he was injured and Nico O'Reilly has performed really well. That is the only reason, no more than that. We are really pleased with Rayan Ait-Nouri. I know he is going to help us. He came not just for a certain period, but for a long time. He knows the Premier League. He can dovetail inside or outside, he can play in different positions, but now Nico is playing really good, and that is the only reason why. I wanted to join Manchester City when Pep Guardiola called. Now I play for their title rivals. Manchester City were believed to be keen on the Chelsea defender before he moved to Stamford Bridge from Brighton and Hove Albion. Chelsea defender Marc Cucurella insisted he was very keen to join Manchester City while playing for Brighton and Hove Albion, but the deal fell through. The Spaniard was one of the most in-demand players in the Premier League while emerging on the south coast. Cucurella spent just one season at Brighton, but impressed sufficiently for the big clubs in the English top flight to show interest. At the time, City had identified the left-back role as an area which needed fixing. João Cancelo was filling in on the left flank, but as a more comfortable right-back, this was only a temporary solution. Speaking to Informe via Goal, Cucurella admitted he worked hard to try and push through the move to the Etihad Stadium, but it wasn't to be. He said, "Man City wanted me before I joined Chelsea. They were on fire, one of the best teams in the world. I wanted to go. When they come like they did, when Pep Guardiola asks, you'll go on your knees if necessary." But the clubs couldn't reach an agreement. Eventually, Cucurella would gain his move away from the Amex Stadium as Chelsea stumped up the cash to complete his move from Brighton. The transfer, which was finalised in August 2022, saw Chelsea spend in excess of £60 million on the Spanish defender. The move has since proven to be a success for Chelsea, as Cucurella has enjoyed great performances for both club and country. The 27-year-old has been an ever-present this season, playing every Premier League game as Enzo Maresca's men look to challenge City and Arsenal for the title this season. His time at Stamford Bridge still has 3 years to run, but Cucurella has admitted his club are already beginning talks surrounding an extension to that deal. He told BBC Sport at the start of the season, "Yes, it's the contract renewal done. We already did it. I'm very happy. The club gave me the confidence, and I'm very happy to be here. Hopefully, I will have a great year these days. It is Nico O'Reilly holding down the left-back position for City. The academy graduate came through the Blues system as a central midfielder, but has found a home in the first team on the left side of the defence." Speaking prior to the Fulham win, he said, "I feel like I'm improving in the left-back role. It's not just a traditional left-back role, it's a lot more complicated than that. It's going inside, going on the wing, making runs into the box, defending in the back four, and keeping a high line. There's a lot of things that go into it, and it's very tactical. I'm helping and giving the team an extra body for crosses and getting passes into the box. There's also a lot of running up and down the flank. I'm enjoying it. O'Reilly has played the full 90 minutes in every Premier League game since the victory over Bournemouth at the start of November. Cucurella will come up against City at the beginning of January when Chelsea travel to the Etihad Stadium." Pep Guardiola's reaction said everything. In a frantic night at Craven Cottage, two young Manchester City talents stepped onto the same pitch, but walked off with completely different stories. Rayan Cherki, thrown into the chaos with just minutes to play, won Guardiola's highest praise as he calmly helped City survive Fulham's late storm. Savinho, meanwhile, left with a tougher lesson after a mixed cameo that drew an immediate on-pitch debrief from his demanding manager. Their contrasting fortunes didn't just shape the final moments of a dramatic match, they revealed exactly what Guardiola values, expects, and sees in the rising stars fighting for his trust. Pep Guardiola's differing Manchester City reactions to Rayan Cherki and Savinho speaks volumes. Manchester City stars. Rayan Cherki and Savinho both came off the bench at Fulham and enjoyed contrasting fortunes. Rayan Cherki only came onto the Craven Cottage pitch in the 82nd minute, yet there were few players Pep Guardiola spoke more highly of afterwards. With Manchester City on the ropes as a rampant Fulham looked for an equaliser that would have completed the most unlikely of comebacks, bringing Cherki on for Reinders could have been seen as a surprisingly attacking change. Rayan Cherki only came onto the Craven Cottage pitch in the 82nd minute, yet there were few players Pep Guardiola spoke more highly of afterwards. With Manchester City on the ropes as a rampant, Fulham looked for an equaliser that would have completed the most unlikely of comebacks. Bringing Cherki on for Reinders could have been seen as a surprisingly attacking change. Guardiola dished out enormous praise afterwards, drawing a comparison with Thiago Alcantara as a player who he knew would keep possession. Crediting the France star for seeing out a dramatic victory, Tuesday night felt like a significant step forward in the early stages of his City career. Rayan Cherki is new. Today, Rayan Cherki in the last minutes, and Bernardo and Nico O'Reilly were the key to keep less chance to concede a goal, he said. They made a step up in the last minutes, especially Rayan, who was exceptional. Savinho got a mention in the press conference for an incredible cross that Erling Haaland looked to have scored from in the second half, only to see it bounce off the inside of the post and away from danger. It was an example of the service that the Brazilian winger hopes to provide. Otherwise, though, it was another frustrating appearance off the bench for a player who is still to get going this season. Replacing Jeremy Doku with the score at 5-2, Savinho made a number of poor decisions when he did get the ball that invited more pressure on City as Fulham took advantage. As the final whistle went, Guardiola strode onto the pitch and ended up singling out Savinho for a chat, just as he had done with Haaland after the Leeds game. The pair